Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video. We are looking for more underrated decks today. We're going through all the typings and there's only two left. This one is the Dragon deck. Now, there's not many Dragon cards to choose from, and I know you guys have seen plenty of Dragonite, so we're going in with a Garchomp deck. And here it is. Here is our Garchomp deck. Very, very basic. Truthfully, if you have it, I would recommend going for two Garchomp here, but I was able to get the job done with just one. Obviously, we have our Garchomp, 140 base HP with a giant cape, goes up to 160. So out of range for a lot of attacks, and with it not being an EX Pokemon, it is not affected by red. This Garchomp also just needs one water energy and one fighting energy to attack. So as you're building up that Gible and Gabite, let me know, is it Gabite? I'm not sure. You should be able to get enough energy to get this Garchomp up and running. Now there's two really cool things about Garchomp. Number one, his ability Reckless Shearing states that you can discard a card in your hand to get a card out of your deck, which is really helpful in the late game, because if you know that there's only 4 cards left and you're looking for one of those and you don't need something in your hand, you can just get rid of it and get something that you might actually need. The other cool thing about Garchomp is only 2 energy to hit for 100 means you're usually out of range of a good Team Rocket grunt. I would just consistently put energy onto this Garchomp to try and avoid that. Now the last great thing about this Garchomp, if you didn't watch my Togekiss deck, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Cynthia. Cynthia allows Garchomp to do 50 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, making that 2 energy attack 150 damage, which is easily able to KO plenty of Pokemon, and it is a great use of this Garchomp. And one of these things is not like the other, and let's talk about that real fast. I said one of these things is not like the other, and Starly is that thing. Starly is in here for 2 reasons. Number one, Pokemon communication. If we need to get a different card early on and we have this Starly and we don't need to use it, we can swap it out for the Gible, Gabite, or Garchomp. If we have the Starly and we have the Gible, I would recommend putting this Starly up top. Reason being, if you see that ability there, the move Pluck actually discards any Pokemon tool off your opponent's active Pokemon. For example, if they have a Rocky Helmet, it will then take off that Rocky Helmet and then proceed to attack, meaning the Starly won't take damage from that. Or if that active Pokemon has a giant cape and is trying to be out of range of some attacks, this Starly is going to bring it right back down and level it to where it was before. It may not survive very long, but if you can use it to at least remove a Pokemon tool, you might just get that edge on your opponent that you didn't have previously. And like I always say, please mess around with item and supporter cards and see what works for you. What works in one battle might not work in the next, but you might find a consistent flow depending on how you tweak this deck. What I ended up using were 2 potions, 1 Pokeball since we only have 2 basic Pokemon, 2 Pokemon communication to ensure that we're getting the Pokemon we need. You could probably knock that down to 1, I won't lie. 1 giant cape. I didn't want to bring 2 Pokemon tools, mostly because I know that Starly's going to die either way. 2 Professor Research and 2 Sabrina to make sure you are attacking the Pokemon you want and getting the cards you need. 1 Cyrus and 2 Cynthia. We want to be doing as much damage as possible. 1 Team Rocket Grunt, 1 Arita, and you might be saying there's no water Pokemon here. You're right, but Arita doesn't give HP to water Pokemon, it gives HP to Pokemon with a water energy, which is what Garchomp needs to attack. And finally, we have a single red at the bottom there, in case you don't have your Cynthias, or you need to do some early, or you need to do a little extra damage early, we have that red there as well. And let me backtrack a little bit. I did say you could probably lose one of those Pokemon communications, which is true. It also might be helpful to have both of them just to have that higher chance of pulling it earlier. You could use it in that Reckless Shearing on Garchomp to get a different card as well. That being said, let's go see it in battle. This is going to be a little bit of a longer battle, a longer video, and you'll see why. But we do end up going second, which means we get the first energy, and we start out with our Gible up top, which was a great way to start this deck. Now, our opponent is going for an Eevee, and they're going for an interesting style of deck that I really haven't seen before, and it took me a second to realize this, but we do have our Garchomp down in our hand early on, which is great to see. Our opponent ends up putting a cape on the Manaphy and a Rocky Helmet on that attacking Eevee. We get our second Cynthia early on, so I am very much praying to get that Gabite into Garchomp as early as possible, but I also decided to cape my Gible just to be sure that he survives a little while longer. I did notice we had that Starly down there as well, and I kept it for 1 turn, but you'll see what happens here. We go for the 20 hit, we get hit right back with a 20, but we are back down to 60 HP, whereas the Eevee is down to 40. Our opponent ends up potioning his Eevee and decides to end turn after putting a energy on the Manaphy. We do get a Sabrina here as well, which I was tempted to use, but I would rather him waste an energy to get that Manaphy in the active spot. So what we end up doing doing instead is a little bit tricky. As I mentioned, Starly's ability knocks a Pokemon tool off of a Pokemon, and I wanted to get this Eevee out of here as soon as possible. So we decided to put our Starly at top and knock off that Brocky helmet, instantly discarding it and get a 20 hit on that Eevee. We still don't have our goodbye yet, so I felt like it was okay to put Gible in the backfield for now. He goes for yet another potion. He has used 2 potions so far to keep that Eevee alive, but he is getting very unlucky in not pulling his Eeveelution. He ends up wasting an energy to swap out into Manaphy to get a little bit of energy onto his other Pokemon, and he pulls our Gible right back into that attacking spot and does get his Glaceon. Unfortunately for our opponent, since I still don't have my goodbye and I saw that we have 2 water energies coming up, I decided to waste a water energy to get our Gible back onto the bench. I was going to Sabrina and try and attack that Glaceon, but I'd rather not. I'm just going to go and knock that Pokemon tool off of Manaphy and hit for 20, taking it down to a total of 30 HP. He decides to put a second energy on the Glaceon and go for another healing card here in Arita. That Glaceon is now up and ready to attack. We get our Arita as well and are able to put a water energy onto our Gible. The key to this deck as well, since you need both a water and a fighting energy, is making sure you're putting the energy in the right places at the right time. But only having 2 different cards really to play, it's not too difficult. You just need to get lucky with when the energy spot. Our opponent does end up getting their second Manaphy here, who they decide to swap into to avoid getting KO'd in 2 turns. Now, the big mistake here by our opponent was that he didn't just start attacking with the Glaceon. That Glaceon could have KO'd both of our current Pokemon very quickly. Thankfully, we were able to now get our goodbye, put another energy on him just in case we get a Team Rocket grunt set on us, and we just keep taking chip damage with Starly. We do, however, now know that the next turn we can attack with a Garchomp if we need to, and we have 2 Cynthias in the backfield to make that happen. On turn 12, we get a Pokemon Communication, which is null and void now since we have our Garchomp, we have our Starly, we have all of our Pokemon used. We are able to attack, but doing some quick math, I realized if we put our Garchomp out there, we would then take the first couple hits from that Glaceon. We are out of range of a 1-hit KO, but I would rather not take the first hit. I would rather provide the first hit. So instead, we keep our Starly out here as long as possible, and I think our opponent realized this as well, as he continues to just put energy onto that Glaceon over time. Glaceon now has 7 energy when it only needs 3 to attack. I guess it's out of range of a Team Rocket grunt, but I wasn't planning on that anyways. I just decided to keep stacking on my supporter cards to give me more versatility later on, and stack a second fighting energy onto our Garchomp just in case, and we get our first point here with that Manaphy. Now, I was very much hoping he would put his Glaceon up, but I think he realized at this point it was too late for him, and if that Glaceon goes into the active spot, we will be able to take it out in 1 hit, ending the game. So instead, he decides to put up an Eevee and put himself in the exact same situation by evolving into a Leafeon EX. I was confused at first, but Forest Breath means that he can get a free Leaf Energy and attack right here to KO our Starly. He does decide to try and swap in our Garchomp, but unfortunately, the damage was not enough to really affect us. I mean, we're down to 90 HP, but we're still not in range of a KO. What we decide to do instead is just move back onto the bench and heal. I truthfully kind of forgot that I could have 1-hit KO right there with a Cynthia, so we just go for the pluck here, and we kind of offer up our Starly to be hit. I was not doing very good math in my head. This battle could have been over a long time ago. He goes for another Forest Breath and puts the water energy on the Glaceon, now just giving his Pokemon as much energy as possible for whatever reason. I guess just not to waste it. Sorry, he put that water energy on the Leafeon. I thought he put that on Glaceon. And he swaps into the Glaceon, who hits with Freezing Wind to KO our Starly, and this is where I finally realized that I could win the game either way. So we end up going for our Cynthia. I think we used a Reckless Shearing as well, just for fun. I don't know what I was trying to accomplish with that. We got a Cyrus just in case we needed it, but I remembered we can 1-hit KO this Glaceon, and we do, and take the win. And that is a pretty simple win for Garchomp. Very confusing win. If he would have just started hitting with Glaceon sooner, we were not in that round at all, but you kind of have to capitalize on your opponent's ability to play the game sometimes. Very nice work. So let me know down in the comments how you enjoyed this deck. Let me know what item and supporter cards you use, and let me know what is your favorite card to use at the moment, as well as what kind of content you guys want me to start doing. I'm running out of typings for these underrated decks, so let me know. That being said, guys, I appreciate you so much for watching. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below on how you're enjoying the content. I will see you next time. Peace.